Are you planning to move abroad, but you're not sure whether or not to keep your US phone number? Or do you already know you want to keep your US number, but you've already left the country and now you're stuck paying really high rates for a phone that you barely even use? Don't worry, I have the solution. And welcome to my series on things you need to do before moving abroad that I wish I knew sooner. In this video, I'll show you 3 ways to keep your US phone number when you move abroad without continuing to pay those super high rates from your old US plan. When I moved to Italy, it was my first time moving abroad, and I had no idea all of the little details that I needed to take care of before I left the country. I already had my Italian citizenship, so that was covered, and I had to do all the research and planning in order to sell all my things, travel with my pet, and transfer my entire life to another country. And there were some things that I thought, oh, I can just put off until I'm already settled in Italy. So one of those things was my phone number. I thought I would keep my US phone plan for a few months and then I would switch over to an Italian phone number, and then I wouldn't really have a need for a US phone. I didn't realize until I got to Italy that because I was keeping my bank accounts and my US credit cards open, for those accounts, whenever you log in, especially if you're in a foreign country, you need to put in two-factor authentication. Some of them will accept an email address, but most of them want to text you on your US phone number. They won't text you on an international number. So it's good to keep that US phone number, if anything, just for that reason. If you're planning to travel back and forth a lot to visit friends and family, or if you have friends and family that want to call you, there are a lot of other options you can use, even if you don't have a US number. A few examples are WhatsApp and FaceTime, but these only work if both people have the app, and you can't use like WhatsApp for two-factor authentication purposes. If you want to keep a US number, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have 2 SIM cards in your phone. If you don't want to be carrying around 2 phones, most modern phones will have the ability to have 2 SIM cards. Sometimes it will be 2 electronic SIM cards, and sometimes it will be 1 physical SIM and 1 eSIM. If you don't know, a SIM card is what holds your data and your phone number, everything that's attached to the phone number for that account. And that SIM card is usually country specific. So when you brought over your phone from the US, you won't be able to use another country's SIM card unless your phone is unlocked. Make sure to go to the Apple Store or your phone provider and show them your phone and tell them that you want to make sure it's unlocked. I only had a phone, I think, with 1 SIM card. This was 5 years ago. So when I got to Italy, I had to switch out my Verizon SIM card with my Italian SIM card. It was really complicated. These days, most phones will have 2 SIM cards. If yours doesn't, get one that does. And then you have some options. If your phone company has a plan that you're happy with and you're willing to pay however much it is, that's fine. But here are some solutions I found if you're on more of a budget and you don't want to pay 50, 60, $100 a month for a phone that you will barely ever use. I was already in Italy by the time I thought about this, so my options were more limited. And I tried to see if I could join another US phone plan and transfer my number and then pay a lower monthly rate. But I couldn't do that because in order to activate a US phone number on a new provider, you have to be physically in the US. I didn't really care about calling or texting because I got all my friends and family to download WhatsApp. So that's what I use mostly to communicate. So another thing is that I just had a sentimental attachment to my old phone number. I had this phone number for decades. Didn't really want to give it up, but I didn't want to keep paying $60 a month for that privilege. So what I found was this service called Number Barn, and it's basically a number parking service. How it works is you can't receive any calls, so you can't pick up your phone and use that number, but they store it for you in a virtual space. So you still own that number, you're paying the service to park it, and Number Barn charges $2 a month. The great thing though is that you can still receive text. So it's never really not worked for me for two-factor authentication. So what happens is they will text your phone number and then you receive an email like instantly. So it's basically the same as receiving a text, and you can also leave an outgoing voice message on it. So if someone calls it, then they will receive your message that says,
Hi, this is Rose. I actually moved out of the country, so you can now reach me by email or you can text this number.
or something like that. It's worked for me. I've had it for about 4.5 2.5 years now. So I'll put the link below if you're interested in that. And again, you can't make any calls, you can't receive calls. It's really just for receiving text and for holding on to your number for future use. Even though my number was parked at Number Barn, I still had an issue when I was traveling to the US to visit. My Italian number did not include any roaming. On my last visit to the US, I had to stay for quite a bit longer than I usually do. So I thought, well, let me look for a low cost US phone plan, get something that's flexible that I can maybe keep with me even when I go back to Italy. And so what I found was US Mobile, they don't really have stores like physical locations. They do have physical SIM cards. If you want, you can get one shipped to you. But I just went online and ordered an eSIM. You can port in a number you already have, or you can get a whole new phone number. And they have a 30-day free trial, but I think that's only if you transfer an existing number. You couldn't activate the service outside of the US. So I just did it when I was there, and it was really fast. You don't have to sign a contract. You don't have to even stick to the same plan. And that's what I liked about it, is that when I'm traveling in the US, I can use the unlimited plan for $25 a month. But when I'm back in Italy, I can switch to the lowest rate possible. So the data is very limited on the $10 a month plan, and it doesn't necessarily include international roaming. This is important because it's not necessarily a plan that you can use and like just use that when you are in your new country. When you do want to use it, make sure that you're on Wi-Fi. You won't be charged for your data. I make sure that I'm on Wi-Fi only. I turn off the cellular service so it's just airplane mode. So that way I know I'm just using the Wi-Fi and not at risk of using the data. They do have international roaming plans too, so you can use that as an option. I've had it for about a year now and I've never had a problem. I recommend it. I have the link below if you want to check it out. When I left the country, I don't know if there were services like this that had such low month-to-month plans. Maybe there were, and I just didn't know because I didn't think about it until after I left. Another option that people use is Google Voice. This is Google's app-based voice and texting service. And you have to port in an existing US number to use from within the US. There's a $20 setup fee and maybe some other charges if you want extra features. It's actually not a phone carrier. So it's basically holding your phone number online and people can still call it and text. I don't use that because I realized I couldn't sign up for it when I was already out of the country. One of the things that I have heard is that people have trouble receiving texts for authentication purposes. So if that's one of the reasons that you need the phone number, then Google Voice I don't think is always reliable. Think about your phone situation before you leave the country. You can choose one of these options depending on how often you'll need to use your US phone number. So if you just want to park it, you got Number Barn. If you need it for more calling and texting, you should look into US Mobile, Google Voice, or any other similar services. I know it's complicated, but this is definitely less work now than if you wait till after you leave the country. And if you've already left, then you have some options too. Let me know in the comments if this was helpful, and subscribe for the rest of my series on things you need to do before moving abroad. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.